This was my first tattoo that I got when I was 19, 19 I think. And I got it at a shop on Sydney Road called Green Lotus Tattoo. It's a funny quote that has a story to it. So when I was 18 or 19, I was doing stand-up comedy, and this comedian, Adam Hills, who I really liked, he was like one of my heroes at the time. He had this story about, so it says, "Go you big red fire engine," and he had this story about how he used to do this show where he would try to like encourage ordinary people to sort of be proud of themselves and come out on stage and like get a round of applause that they wouldn't normally get. So he used to do this show where he would get, at the end of the show, he would pick someone from the audience and he would get them to come out and like yell their own name, and people would start, like in the audience, would start clapping for them. And then one day he pulled this guy on stage who was a firefighter, and he said, "Okay, so come out on stage and start yelling your name." And the guy came out, and instead of saying his own name, he said, "Go you big red fire engine." And apparently people were really confused at first, but then they started like clapping and cheering, and this guy got a standing ovation, and people in the audience were yelling, "Go you big red fire engine." So this comedian started using that phrase to kind of as kind of like an affirmation. So this one I got, it's just a cupcake, and I got it because I haven't always had like the best relationship with food, and at one point when I was doing really well with food, I sort of decided to get it to sort of remind myself that it's something to celebrate and it's something to have a positive relationship with. So it's kind of a reminder of that. My family, I don't know, they don't hate them, but they were pretty surprised that I got them. And I think at first my parents were just really certain that I would regret getting them, and no one else in my family has tattoos, so I think they still don't completely understand it. But with my friends, most of my friends now have tattoos, really. So yeah, it's really common in just the groups that I hang out with, so it's really nothing unusual. I don't regret this one. I don't regret getting it, but I've thought about getting it covered up, just because, not because of what it says, but just because now I think I'd like something with a lot more colour, and it doesn't really fit in with like the look of what I would like to get more of. So I've thought about covering it up with something a bit more like this one. Yeah. I would suggest probably getting images rather than text, because I don't regret this one, but I remember before I got it, my mum said, "You might get bored of explaining it to people," and she was right. Because people ask like what it says all the time, and they ask me to explain it. So I think getting images, I don't know, I would say get an image, because you'll be asked about it less. I think it's a way of expressing who you were at a certain time, even if you don't continue to be the same person.